Hi hearts, it's Michelle from The Healing Heart. So, I always start these videos by saying it's been a while, and my intent is to upload as often as I can, but I'm so big on doing things when I feel guided to do them. I won't do videos, writing, pretty much anything in my life if it feels out of line. Unless of course I have to do something. I mean, we all have to do some things, but for the most part, I won't push myself when I'm creative to be creative or to do something that feels like I'm reaching for it. I will always do it when I feel the inspiration, when spirit nudges me, when I know it's time. So that's today, and that's why I'm here. Let's see, first of all, I would like to just let y'all know that I've started classes and they're going well. If you have joined me in class, I just want to say thank you and to let you know that I'm really enjoying it. It's a learning experience for me too. So as I get to figure out patterns, and Spirit is very impromptu with teaching with me, and that's how I wanted it to be. That's what I like, is it to be very geared to those that are working with me, to be geared to the energy and to where that flow of energy is headed. So it's very interesting. In this last week, Spirit has given me some information and some ideas to help me play with and to look at in regards to what's coming up in the future. And so I'm going to be also offering some classes that are going to be in one day, over a couple of hours, and they're going to hone in on certain subject matters. There's so much to cover and just so much information and a lot of really good stuff, and there's some different areas that I feel very passionate about myself, and that just align with who I am and how I teach. So I do hope that if that is something that you guys are interested in, visit my website, www.thehealingheart, and that's thehealing-art.com, and on there you will see my services, private group sessions, as well as any classes or groups, teachings that are coming up in the next bit. Okay, so now that we get the business out of the way, I had a comment just asking about synchronicities. This is synchronicities and numbers, and I'm sorry because I can't remember the name of who said it, but if you're watching this, hopefully you know that I'm addressing you. I've got my guardian angel Bronwyn here right now, and she's quite funny. She's spunky, sparky. She reminds me of I don't know why, but an Irish dancer. She's like just so every time I tune into her, there's so much movement in her energy, and she's got so much fire to her, and I'll often hear like musical notes that sound like Irish music, is the only way I can describe it. And I do have Irish heritage, so I'm sure there's something else in there too. So when we talk about synchronicities and numbers, especially with our energy right now, and I always say energy right now, but guys, like it would be hard to ignore the fact that time feels like it's speeding up right now. That those of us that are aware that we're getting downloads, we're getting a lot of them. I know I am. They're coming in fast and furious. Sometimes they're coming in the middle of the night. I know there's plenty of times that I've woken up at 4 in the morning and had to head over to my pen and paper and just start writing. And it's overwhelming sometimes because there's so much going on in our physical worlds. So for me, I know that I'm really putting a lot of practice into disconnecting from what I know is really not serving me, what I know is really not going to be of any benefit to me. And really just dipping my toes in to keep myself informed, to connect to my own inner wisdom. And it's like dipping your toes in, peeking around the corner and peeking back out. I want to address something else too, because it's happening right now, is I have this little something that has occurred, and you may have all noticed this, but it's really ramped up in the last few months. But when spirit comes close to me, particularly those that I am familiar with, that I start really talking with or delivering information, I don't know if it's the throat chakra area. I'm being told it's the throat chakra area, but I tend to gulp air. I get this like weird sensation in my throat, and I feel like I'm needing to swallow and swallow. And so when you see me start to do that, I feel them very close to me. And right now I feel Bronwyn standing right behind me, leaning like right up next to me. That's how it feels to me. She just is saying that that it's like leaning in, and my gulping is like my throat chakra keeping up to her flow. And I do. She says that sometimes I have a tendency to zig all over the place, and so she tries to help keep me on task. But at the same time, personally, I feel it's so important to talk about all these little things that when we are channeling spirit, when we are communicating with spirit, to be able to discuss, you know, why do I feel that, or why does this happen, or why do I look up in the air like this, or why do I close my eyes, and what am I talking about when I say I feel spirit coming in from this side, or all of those things. I know for me, as I was understanding my own energy in the very beginning, and I was trying to discern spirit and really sort things out, it was so helpful for me when I heard other people that had experience, when they would break it down for me on how they were perceiving energy. Because even though we all have our own way of doing things, even though we all have our own way of, you know, we can't compare each other. We can't say, oh, you know, you look at somebody else that is channeling spirit and say, oh, I want to do it that way, or I wish I could do it that way. Really what this is each one of us has an opportunity to share how it is that we are perceiving our own connection with spirit and our higher self, to normalize this connection, because it is normal, despite what we may have been raised to believe, or despite what we may have thought. It is not wrong. It is very normal, and we are all already connected. Each and every one of us, it is our mind that leads us to believe that we are not connected. Why are we all connected? Because we are spirit, because we are the divine, we are connected to it. So the separation is the illusion. It is the biggest illusion, is that there is separation. So really tuning into spirit is being able to refocus. It's about focus, and it's understanding, how do you perceive them? You know, many of us are already perceiving spirit and getting information, and we dismiss it because we think it's something else. Or we're like, oh, it's my imagination. I've always done that. I've always daydreamed. I've always done this. I've always done that. And when you hear a description of somebody else, sometimes that makes you go, oh, I get that. I understand that. And then we're able to go through that process and kind of backpedal through our own way of hearing, feeling, sensing, and that helps us grow the connection. Okay, so again, sidetracked a little bit there. So let's just go back for a second and talk about synchronicities and talk about numbers and sequences and patterns and things that many of us are experiencing right now. So what is all of this? Why do we have synchronicities? What do they mean? Well, my gosh, I could talk for a very long time about synchronicity, and I love to, because it's fun. And you know, because of the subject matter, and you know, I've had people say to me, oh, is it really depressing talking to people that, you know, you're talking to a lot of people that have lost loved ones all the time. And of course I will never lose the understanding that I do connect with many people that are in pain, or it brings up pain with how much they love and miss those that have departed in the physical. But at the same time, it is all woven together, our connection with our loved ones, with our guides, with our angels, with the universe, with our galactic friends and family. It's all as one. They're not these separate boxes. And so synchronicity can run through everything. And when we are open to receiving messages, they don't just have to happen when you are sitting in meditation, or when you are sitting for a reading with someone, or pulling cards for yourself, or whatever you do to connect with spirit. Spirit will communicate, the universe will communicate, source, God, whatever you want to use to describe it. It's just words for understanding that we're talking about the same thing, because it is all the same thing. So your messages and your connections will come in absolutely everything. And rather than get too caught up on what the meaning is, rather be open to receiving the connection, the feeling, and the knowing that that is a synchronicity. So what's a synchronicity? For those of you that don't know, a synchronicity is an occurrence that happens that signals the connection. Gosh, what's the best way to explain it? Bronwyn, maybe help me out here. She's saying often things that are otherworldly, or something that we would consider like magic, something that connects one thing to another. Synchronicity was a word that was used to describe the act of recognizing patterns in the universe, whether that means like a detective following a sign, following a signal from one thing to the next that gives us a message, or gives us a knowing, a validation, an appreciation. So, okay, let's just talk about numbers for a second. What exactly are numbers? Okay, so I'm not a numerologist. I don't do astrology. I love it. Like, I play with numbers. I see numbers all the time, and I'm sure you guys have all done it doesn't matter what time you look at the clock, you just happen to glance over and it's 11:11, it's 5:55, it's 3:33, it's 1:11, all of these different number sequences. And so do they have meaning? Do these number patterns have meaning? Well, yes, but let's go a little bit deeper and say, do these number patterns mean something to you? Because yes, there is a system. And so when there's a collective understanding of anything, so let's say, for example, for whatever reason, I'm getting the number 9. So some of you are, the number 9 is going to mean something to you today for that coming up. The number 9 is the number of endings, conclusions. Often the number 9 will pop up when you are ending a cycle, when you are finishing something and ready for new. So the number 9 will come up when you have or are reaching an ending, a conclusion. And that can be applied many different ways. So let's say you get the number 9, or you're getting 999 in everything. Now, the generic understanding, like if we were to go to Google and we were to look up what does the number 9 mean, you're going to get something along that lines that talks about the number 9 is endings. The number 5 means change. 33 is the ascended masters. Okay, so you're going to have all of these different meanings that a lot of people understand, especially those that are familiar with numerology. But furthermore, if we go a little bit deeper, understand that it's not always about the generic meaning, because those numbers could mean something different to you. So if you're getting the number 9, was that a home that a loved one that you knew, that you care about, they lived at the number 9, was their last residence? Is that a number for, yes, I'm Canadian, a hockey jersey that was worn by somebody that you love and knew? Does that have any significance to you personally? So rather than, because our minds will go to, but this is what it says it means, and yet there's this part of us that feels like, yeah, but that's a sign from this, or that reminds me of this. Go with the personal meaning to it. Yes, you can explore the other meaning, and you can work through that information to give yourself more depth. You can give yourself, you can go a little deeper. It's like a treasure map. You go through all of these little bits and pieces that occur in your life that will give more meaning and understanding to what it is that you're either questioning or the message that you're receiving. I hope this is making sense. But it's more important for you to go with what your gut feels, with what that background information is, rather than going with what everybody else says that it is, especially if they're feeling equal. Then it's something that you can do to explore all of it. But if you feel that that number that's showing up is something else, go with that, because that's what the meaning is for you. Now, the other thing is too, you know, a lot of people will say, well, I keep seeing 1111 all the time, everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And so does my friend over here. And so does this person. Like, we're all seeing it. What does that mean? So know that there are collective things that many of us are experiencing. And yes, the numbers can have specific meanings, but a lot of times these types of occurrences are, you know, a message from our higher self, and can be from a spirit guide. But a lot of times it's, yeah, you're on the right track. You're in alignment. You are, you're going the right direction, or you got it. It's like an agreement, or an agreement, or not an agreement. It's agreeing with something that you've said. It's like validating or confirming, rather. So when it comes to synchronicities, synchronicities happen if you pay attention to them. So for example, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of one. There's been so many things that I've experienced with synchronicities. Okay, yesterday I had a synchronicity, and this is just a very basic one. I was listening to this, somebody on YouTube that was talking about butterflies and kept saying, you're in this transformative period if you keep seeing butterflies, and it stuck in my head. I overheard it, and I will often listen to a lot of, I love to keep expanding in information, so I'll often play different things in the background while I'm cleaning or doing work or something. And I may not even really be tuning in, but every now and again something will pop up and I'll catch it. And I love to do this because this creates a lot of synchronicity for me in my life. And then it will appear within my reality to confirm something, or it will keep popping up. So the butterfly, and I feel the transformation because I can feel a lot is changing in my own life. Even though I don't have all of the details of exactly how it's happening, I know that I'm coming to a time of change again. So anyway, the butterfly, and it stuck in my head, and I saw a monarch butterfly in my third eye. Okay, I could see it. And it was a very bright orange looking butterfly. It was so funny because, and those of you that know, my parents live next door. And so I went running next door shortly after I had heard this to just go drop something off. And I step out my front door, and a monarch butterfly, the brightest orange butterfly I've ever seen, flew and hit me right directly, like right in my third eye. It like, and I'm like, okay, message received, thank you. So that's a little synchronicity. And can we take that further? Yeah, like sometimes that synchronicity will continue on, and then spirit, the higher self, the universe will piggyback those messages to reach into different areas. It all depends on how open you are willing to be. How open are you willing to be? How open are you to receiving the messages? And furthermore, how present are you allowing yourself to be? Because you're going to miss the signs, the synchronicities. You're going to not be able to create these patterns if you're not present. So practicing being present is extremely important. I'm going to add one other little thing today so I don't make this video too long, because it is getting pretty long. So I'm just going to add one other thing. I get a lot of questions about meditation. And I'm going to tell you something. I am not an meditator. I'm just not. Maybe that will change. I'm constantly evolving and growing. But as of right now, do I meditate? I do. I do. But for me, I am more of a, I will quiet my thoughts, or I will use a mantra, I will use a sound, and I use patterns in my head to get into a certain state. And I'm not, I don't always use meditation in the form of sitting. I will do this practice like a mantra in my head, so other people won't even know what I'm doing, but I may have this mantra going in my head to calm myself, to get into a different state, to help shift my thoughts. I'm an alchemist, and so there are times that I may need to transmute an energy, shift my focus. And so I do this while I am walking, sometimes gardening, and I've started to incorporate this into places that are busy. So when I'm out in locations that have a lot of noise and have a lot of people, I've become pretty good at quietening myself down and being able to go inside. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is that I think personally it's something that we can really get hung up on if we get worried about if I'm meditating, or am I doing enough? Am I doing enough to help my connection with spirit? And there's a purpose for all of these different activities. There's a purpose for meditation. There are many different ways that we can meditate. And the point I really want to drive home to you about synchronicities, about numbers, about meditation, about absolutely everything on your journey is that you have to find what works for you and be open to that shifting and changing. the biggest thing that you can do for yourself is to be able to not close yourself in, is know what works for right now. If you're able to be present with yourself, practice continuing being present with yourself, with the knowing that the more you work at it, the more you will learn, the more you will change, the more you will grow, and the better you will become at it. Because when you're focusing on presence, when you're focusing on going within, all of these things, that will help the outer reality. Everything that is within is also on the outside. It manifests on the outside, which is a totally another topic. Anyway, I just sometimes get after 20 minutes and I'm like, what the heck have I been going on about? I go on about so much stuff, but there's just so much to talk about. And guys, it really is about the journey. It's not about the destination, because we will never ever be at one true destination, because we continue to create goals for ourselves. That's our nature. And whether we are in the physical body or we are beyond our physical body, we will continue to create and grow. And so this journey that we're on right now in this physical body, that we are all on, the experience that we're having right now, no matter what that experience is enriched with emotion, with feeling, and the ability to be present. And by asking ourselves what we truly desire, what our true intents are, that helps us get to know ourselves even better. And when we stay open, we realize that we are truly one with the universe, with God, and each other. And that, my friends, creates an absolutely beautiful reality, because life truly is beautiful. It really is. All right, hearts, thanks for listening to me talk and ramble on about all these awesome things. I guess that's it for today. I love you all, appreciate each and every one of you, and if you are still here for this entire video, I love you. Have a great day. Bye, hearts.